So, autism, what is it, and how do you know you might have it, and whether you have a diagnosis or not? What do you do now? Hey guys, welcome back to the show, welcome back to the diary. So yes, let's talk some more about autism. Now, this one's not going to be scripted, but that's because it's a little bit hard to script this. Autistic people struggle to explain things properly or explain things the way they want to explain it. So they can say something like, that looks nice, and yeah. They might be talking about something else, or they might be talking about the way you're dressing, and something bad might happen, and it's not really that person's fault, it's just the way it's come out. So things like, that looks nice actually, oh my days, that's got me into trouble a couple of times, that looks nice actually, it's like, it's the actually that people heard, it's like, but, I was saying it looks good. But no, I'm going to look at some of the diagnosis, kind of symptoms, traits that lots of professionals look at when diagnosing for autism. So I'm going to read through some of them now. Abnormal body posture or facial expressions. So it's not just that the facial expressions and body posture is like wrong in the sense of it's all like crazy cat sleeping positions. It's more that it doesn't necessarily fit to the feeling, the emotion that's going on. So it's also the understanding of it. So you've got the whole, I'm confused. It looks like anger because I have a frown. It looks like I'm cross. Cross and angry are so close together in their facial expressions that it's really hard to tell which is which. Abnormal tone of voice, again, it's about it not being wrong, it's about it not fitting with the idea of what was meant to be said and how it was meant to be said. So, with me personally, anger is highest emotion. There is a lot of talk about highest emotion with autistic people because emotion is really difficult to understand and portray properly for autistic people. So there is normally that one emotion that is higher in that person. It's more prominent, it's easier for them to portray, it's easier to see, it's normally always visible. Whether or not this is true or not remains to be seen because there's not a lot of study that I've seen to it, but there's a lot of talk about it. But personally, I think it's somewhat true because I've met several autistic people with several different emotions being higher and them always being able to have that emotion as a response for something, even if the emotion should be anger and their highest emotion is happiness. They're just like, yeah, why am I not angry about this? Shit, stuff happens, sort of thing. And it's like, I would be exploding the universe right now with that. I'd be screaming it from the rooftops how angry I am, sort of thing. And it's like, okay. So the tone of voice won't necessarily fit with what's being said or anything like that. With enough practice and enough teaching, that can change. Avoidance of eye contact or poor eye contact. So poor eye contact could be that you're looking sort of at the person, but you're not really looking at their eyes. You're not looking directly into the pupils of the eyes, or you'll look into the pupils of the eyes and then look away, which is what I do. I never used to like looking at someone's face because it always made me feel uncomfortable. It still makes me feel uncomfortable to look at some people's faces to this day, but I can do it. I can look at people's eyes if I need to, but I can't do it for a long period of time because I'm forcing my brain to do something it doesn't know how to do or it doesn't want to do properly or for a long period of time, so it makes me tired. Behavioural disturbances. So I'm pretty sure this kind of fits to the whole meltdown situation. So flickering lights, funny sounds, buzzing, high-pitched beeping, all sorts, can cause, clicking of high heels as well, loud shopping centres, loud spaces, can all cause meltdowns or sensory overloads. So you have this moment of everything's okay, shut up, in an autistic person because it's just poof, exploded. That's when I think that's talking about. If it's talking about something else, then that's fine, and that's understandable, but to me that means the whole la-di-da-di-da, everything's okay, poof, explode, anger, stress, where did all this bad behaviour come from? It's because when we're in that moment of something's bothering me, we can't necessarily tell it's bothering us because a lot of the time in autistic brains, the message firing section that says this is irritating, you know that moment when someone's irritating you and you're just sat there thinking, you're irritating me, you're annoying me, will you shut up, will you stop doing that, it's annoying, and then you're just like, will you stop doing that, you're annoying me. We don't have that, this is annoying me all the time. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But it's not always firing properly. So when it does finally fire, because it's almost like there's the bullet stuck in the gun, and it fires it, or there's like a blockage in a tube, and it's finally got rid of the blockage, that's kind of where it explodes. It just all comes flooding out at once and in all sorts of problems and all sorts of bad behaviour. So we have deflect language comprehension, or deficits in language comprehension, sorry. So, long words and other things as well. We don't necessarily know which word is right for what moment, because so many different words mean the same thing. Like plane and plane, aeroplane and plain paper. We might write out aeroplane because, like with me, my biggest problem is with break. Now, I know that talking about spelling it is more dyslexia, but it's like I cannot always remember which break I need for I'm gonna break this. Like, break it, not just I'm gonna use my break on it. Because the way you say, I need to take a break, and then I'm going to break this item, it's the same kind of break as far as I remember, and even then I'm looking back at it going, is it? This is what I mean, it's difficult to remember which one's which, more difficult to remember which one's which for people with autism because of the way it is. All those little rules, all those little laws behind things, we don't know without being taught. All these little social rules and social rules that everyone has, like you don't speak about private stuff in front of people or in public because it's private life, you keep your private life private, sort of thing. Autistic people might just blurt stuff like that out because we don't know the social rule. We need to be told stuff like that. Delay in learning to speak. Now this one's tricky because this is only, in my eyes anyway, this is only really most common in those with more severe autism than most normal or most other types of autism. There's high functioning, which is me. There's a nice varied line from high functioning to Asperger's that's in there, and a lot of people in that gap will speak at the right age and the right time and reasonably well enough. And then there's obviously the Asperger's to the really severe autistic that might not. And I mean, I'm not saying that anyone in the gap of high functioning down to Asperger's won't speak, because there might be some people there that will. Girls in particular, when learning to speak, if a girl has autism, she's more likely to copy what's being said than giving you her own sentence kind of answer. So if you've got a little girl, and I mean, don't get all panicky going, oh my god, my daughter's got autism, because she might not, she just might be a little bit slow. But because lots of kids are slower. But there is that thing where girls will try and assimilate, they'll try and copy, they'll try and fit in, because they see it and understand and go, right, okay, I'm a bit different here. I'm going to copy you because I want to be your friend. Please be my friend. If I copy you, will you be my friend? That's the sort of thing that's going through the girls' minds at the time. Boys, on the other hand, it's like, I don't care. I'm just going to go sit over here and do my thing. I don't want friends, I don't need friends, sort of thing. That's what's going through boys' heads at the time. That's why more boys get diagnosed than girls do, because boys make it more obvious. Flat, monotonous speech. No, not always. But it goes back to that understanding the tone of voice. This is why earlier in my channel you've got my animations for explaining autism. You've got the normal one, which is all over the place everywhere. It goes up and down where it's supposed to, and no problems in tone. And then you've got the two types of autism, where it's flat, or it's a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down. Because autistic people do know how to change their tone of voice. It's just something that we can't always do because, again, the brain firing messages are not there. It's not firing properly, or it's not firing at the right time. So when you hear someone with autism, if they're like, and then suddenly, it's because the brain, it's fired, and it basically the button had a not functioning thing on it. So basically, be pressing the button and it's not firing, and then press the button and it's like, that was not what was needed at the time. Thanks, brain. Inappropriate social interaction. Like I said, talking about private stuff with friends and in public, but also Touchy Feely. A lot of autistics, and again, a lot of this is, you won't have every single one of these if you're autistic. You might have some, you might not have all of it, and that's okay, that's normal. But some autistic people are very touchy-feely, don't understand the whole personal space bubble. So they'll be sat right up close, and just like, you might think it's uncomfortable, but they don't know it's uncomfortable. So, intense focus on one topic. This is pretty common with autistic people, but it's not something that every autistic person has. Now, for me, it's not really one topic either. It's video games and acting. When I was younger, it was acting. But now it's turned into video games and acting. Also, I have one hell of a love for Harry Potter. As you guys know, Harry Potter is my world. But not every autistic person will just like, oh my god, I know everything about this subject. Everything that needs to know, I know it, and nobody can outdo me. But there is also that thing in there of subjects as well. So like, there's maths, science, anything like that. There's a guy who's out there at the moment with autism who's got seriously high functioning autism, but his math skills are amazing. You could say to him, like, say 9th of April 1981, he'll be able to tell you exactly what day of the week that date was on, and he'll do it within seconds or even milliseconds. No thought to it near enough, and it's just amazing. So if it's not an intense focus on one topic or one or more topics, it could be something with subjects. But if it's not even that, it's nothing to worry about. it's not something that you need to be turning around saying, oh, I definitely don't have it because I don't have this one. Just because you don't have that one doesn't mean that you don't have it, because you might have others. Lack of empathy, that's actually wrong. People say that autistic people have a lack of empathy because of our struggles and inabilities to understand and portray emotion, which is fair. We do have a problem with emotions and all sorts like that. But empathy is about understanding how someone feels and what sort of situation that person is in at the minute. So, someone's just had a car crash, an autistic person will go, oh no, are you okay? That is empathy. That is empathy right there. Autistic people can feel empathy, and quite often do. It gets mistaken for other things because of the tone and voice we use at the time. Our tone of voice at the time might not be right. So saying that autistic people have a lack of empathy is wrong, because we know empathy. We understand empathy, especially with the right training. So lack of understanding of social cues. Lots of autistic people, especially autistic girls, will get themselves into a lot of trouble with boyfriends or girlfriends, however way they are, because they think, or we can think, that any kind of kindness is that person loving us. I get into trouble with it quite a bit, because any kind of kindness, I'm like, oh my god, they're my friend, yay. And it's like, no, he just smiled at you. He's not your friend, he just smiled at you. It's like, So, not being able to understand the reason behind the smile or things like that is quite a big thing for autistic people. It's not, we don't necessarily know what each cue means and what that person's intent is, because of facial expressions are hard to understand, remember. Learning disability or difficulty, this is 50-50, this one. Not all autistic people will also have another learning disability or difficulty, but it is quite common for people with autism to have, say, dyslexia, dyspraxia, or some other learning disability as well. Is pretty common. Not engaging in play with peers, that's because if we don't sit there and play with our friends, we're not trying to say that they're not friends with us and they're not our friends. It's more that we either have no interest in the game, we have no interest in play, or because we don't get the social intention, play isn't really play to us all the time. I mean, for me personally, I remember with my Lego stuff, tipping it out of the box, sorting it into colour piles. No, just sorting it into colour piles and then gonna build something so I could see what I had. But it's like, I'm gonna build something in a minute, I swear. I'm gonna build something in a minute, don't worry. I got it all sorted out, all nice and in the colour piles, and then I was like, I'm bored now. Stuck it all back in the box. So, we don't play in the same way, so to engage in play, I don't know how to explain it, but to engage in play is not something that autistic people find easy to do, is all I'm kind of really going to say about it. Preoccupation with specific topics. Same as the intense focus on one topic, I think. But as far as I can understand this one, it just means the whole, I know everything there needs to know, I know everything, ask me anything and everything, I can tell you what it is about that topic. But there is that thing of not all autistic people will know absolutely everything there is to know. I mean, yeah, I know quite a bit about Harry Potter. I might not know everything there is to know. I don't know if I know everything there is to know, because everything I think there is to know, I know, but there might be new stuff coming out. There might be new things that people know that I didn't, and I'm just like, that's good to know. But we do know quite a bit about topics that we enjoy. Problems with two-way conversation. Bringing this back to young girls with autism. You say something to a young girl with autism, and I'm talking toddler age here. You say something and she'll repeat it back to you. Might be reworded to her point of view, but it's still repeated. So, how are you today? How are you? She might not turn around and be like, I'm okay, thank you, how are you? She might just turn around and be like, how are you? That whole taking what you've been given, finding a response for it that will continue the conversation on, is the difficult part for autistic people. Because it's the whole, does this subject fit with what's been said? Does this emotion fit with what I want it to? Is this the right response? It's these things, these questions that our brains don't necessarily ask. So we either end up giving no response at all, giving the same response back, or giving some random plucked out from the ether of nowhere response that doesn't fit with anything at all. The strangest thing I've had is mental connection. I don't know how on the ball this is with autistic people, or whether it's just something that everyone has with some people. But if I'm with particular autistic people, I can almost normally, almost dead on point, pick up on what's going through that person's mind at any one time just by looking at their face, their eyes, or whatever response they give. And I can immediately, almost to a T, understand what it was they meant by what they said. It's probably only because I had that same problem, and because of the words they used gave me enough information to turn around and go, right, okay, you meant this, right? And they turn around and go, yeah, and it's like, right, okay, so you want this, right? And like, yeah, it's really, really weird, that kind of connection, and I don't know how much of a everyone else thing it is. Let me know down below if you have that too. But it's the strangest thing, and it's got me so many strange looks. Like, are you in his head? Are you in their head? And it's like, no. Did you two just talk to each other without speaking? Nope. So repeating words or phrases. It's, I mean, personally, I see this as being more common with Asperger's and more severe autism than high functioning to Asperger's, because of the way the brain is with those autistic people. At that point in time, the brain is running on certain things. So if you have a highly autistic child and they are repeating just one little section of a nursery rhyme or a song over and over and over and over and over, that's what I mean by it's more to that one. I'm not saying that high functioning to or Asperger's won't do this at all, because I know I do. It's just that I don't do one little section. I will repeat the whole thing. Or if it is just one little section, it's normally a little scene from Harry Potter. I will either repeat the scene where's needed or whatever. It is possible for any kind of autistic person to have this issue or this symptom, this trait, but I personally think that the more severely they do it, or the more prominent it is more for the Asperger's and the more higher leveled, more severe autism, personally. Because that's what I've seen on TV with proper documentaries, not just reality, but proper not just fake non-reality, but proper documentaries of reality. Repetitive movements. You'll see us rock, click. That is called stimming. We're not doing it to be weird. We're not doing it for any reason like that. Some autistic people will do it because they're happy. But yay, I'm happy. Nice. Some autistic people will do it moments before a meltdown. Calm down, calm down. It's a way of keeping the brain centered for them at that point in time. But stimming can happen for any and whatever reason. But you'll see us do stuff like that, and that's what we're doing. Self-abusive behaviours. We're in a meltdown. Shut up. We don't understand what's happening to us at the time because our brain can't tell us. It's basically like the entire world, or everything we know, has just gone white or black for some people, but it's just given a flash of everything, and we're beating ourselves up and doing stuff, or just kicking out because everything is firing off at once, and nothing will stop. Nothing will calm down. That's why my mum had a big problem with touching me at that point in time with my meltdowns. She had to just ever so gently or carefully, like that, around my wrist to be able to take me off to my room, a place that was just one safe room that I can kick and scream for as long as I needed for it to calm down and for it to just stop. And that is the best tip for stopping a meltdown when it's in flow. Make sure, because obviously autistic people, they can't take themselves to their room or take themselves to the safe place. Make sure you take them to the safe place in a way that's right for them. So if that means no touchy, don't touch. If that means doing the whole follow me, if they're in that state of I'm only just starting, I've got a 5-minute window before I explode. If you catch them in that window before they explode, they will probably follow you, sort of thing. And then you take them to this quiet space. In the meltdown, the best way to get it to last milliseconds in terms of its usual time, because the difference between a temper tantrum and a meltdown is normally how long it takes. If your 3-year-old is having a temper tantrum, they'll kick and scream for 2 minutes, maybe an hour, and then when they realise they're not going to get what they want, they calm down and they come all tear-stricken and apologise. An autistic person, if they're not getting what they want, they'll kick and scream for 2 to 3 hours or more, depending on how bad the meltdown is. So you got to look at what's just happened, what could be affecting the child or the person, why is this behaviour coming up, and then is this behaviour a temper tantrum or is it a meltdown? If you think it's a meltdown, then you need a quiet, near empty space that they can sit in or be in, that they can kick off screaming, do whatever it is they need to do. It needs to be safe and quiet. And like I said, near bed. Because you don't necessarily want your stuff getting broken, or you don't want their stuff getting broken. But if it does get broken, it's okay. They didn't mean to break it. But it's that thing of it needs to be quiet, because if there's noise going on while everything's firing, that noise is going to keep it going. Because they can't stop anything. If it's calm, quiet and nothing's there, you've taken away the sound sensor. So the sound sensor stops firing. Because there's no sound. There's nothing sound-wise to irritate them. If it's bare, there's light, but it's the right kind of light. You're taking away the visual sense as well. You've stopped that visual one from firing. And the minute, for me personally, the minute one or two or more of those senses stop firing, the rest shut up, the rest stop, and they can calm down, or I can calm down. So take something away, and within an hour or so, should be nice and calm. Should be all done with the meltdown, nothing else is a problem. You might want to leave it a little bit, and you might want to make sure the rest of the house is all calm and all kind and nothing's too overbearing. Because if you catch an autistic person too close after a meltdown with something that's going to annoy them, you're going to have a repeat. It's just going to fire right back into it. Personally, with me, the best way to deal with me at that point in time, before I was angry, was either stick me in front of the TV or stick me in the bath. So TV. What was I angry at? I don't remember, I'm happy now. TV. Stick me in the bath. Ooh, play with bubbles. You're gonna get clean. Yeah, okay. Yeah, clean off. Distraction is one of the best ways to curve the meltdown before it happens. So if you know that you're about to have a meltdown, just do something that you know distracts you. One of the best ways I had one of my exes do this was the most awkward, strangest question in the universe. Something that would make my brain go, what? Huh? Because with everything starting to fire, if I have that what in my brain, basically there's a boss that's doing all this. It's getting angry. It's like, you fire, fire now, fire. And then that comes in. It's like, everyone stop. What was that? Repeat it. You, get on that. I don't understand this. What is this message? Work on that message now. It's basically that's happening in my brain, and that's the reason I'm able to cover a meltdown that way, or someone else is able to help me cover a meltdown that way, because my brain's just there like, what is this weirdness? This is cryptic. What? So yeah, sleep disturbances. This could be for any reason. We've had a meltdown, we're tired, we'll sleep, something will bother us in the night, and then we're like, yeah, I can't wear pajamas, it's annoying me, or I'm tied up in my duvet, please no, or they'll be beeping for some reason. It's normally because there's something else going on, it's too hot, too bright, too dark, or the bed, there's something wrong with the bed. If you're autistic child, or you personally are having problems with sleep, or you're finding yourself waking up at night, have a look around the room. Is your bed the right bed? Is your pajamas that you wear, if you wear pajamas, is the pajamas too tight? Are they too loose? Are they the wrong kind of pajamas? Ankle biter pajamas, the ones that look like tracksuit, but because they're not like tight, they're thinner. Those ones work for me really well because I have dyspraxia. So many times when I was younger, I had the open leg ones and I was catching my toe on the inside of one of the legs. So I'd fall over, hurt my knees and all sorts because I catch my toes. So I have the ones that fit around your ankle now because they're nicer. But I wake up with it halfway up my leg, past my knee or just underneath my knee. Social withdrawal. So, got a group of friends, group of people, sitting and talking, and you're just sat in the corner on your phone. You're not being rude and you've got nothing to be ashamed about it. You just don't necessarily know how to approach them or how to join in the conversation. So many times I've been trying to join in conversations with friends and I catch them just as they're taking a breath and it's like, but I wanted to talk about this. It's like there's a third person in the room here, hello. So most of the time I just don't bother and it's like, what do you think? You've been really quiet. It's like, yeah, I've been quiet because I've been trying to say something and everyone's just been talking over me. Unusual reactions in social settings. I have a really funny one for this one. My nan had not long died, right? Now, towards the end, my nan got really nasty. Kind of like rude and just horrible. So, someone tells me that she just died and I was like, good, I hated her. Harsh, I know. Honest as well. That's another thing with autistic people. Unusually blunt honesty. That dress looks horrible on you. I wouldn't have gone with that colour with those trousers. We're not trying to be rude, we're not trying to be nasty, we're just giving you the answer you asked for. So does my bum look big in this? Yes. Never ask an autistic person if your bum looks big in something, because you will quite often, if it does, you will get a yes. But if you want a brutally honest answer about an outfit, whether it looks right or wrong, you're better off asking an autistic person, because we will give you brutally honest and not just go, no, your bum looks fine. Using odd words or phrases. So this kind of just goes back to the whole it doesn't quite fit with what's been said. So, like I said, your nan's just died. How do you feel? Happy. I hated her. Why are you happy? You shouldn't be happy, you should be sad. Like, I am a little bit, but I still hate her. Not knowing which right word or phrase to use for the right moment, the right meaning, and everything else in between. It's just autistic brains are just there like, I screwed it, that one. That word's close enough. Just give it, because the brain's like, what word do I need? And then the word boss or the word person in charge in the brain's just they're like, we're on a timer here, boss. You gotta try and find the right word for me, or you gotta try and help me find it soon. We're on a timer, sort of thing. That's why a lot of the time, if you're talking to an autistic person, they will try, or they will end up going back to an old conversation that happened 5-10 minutes ago, because the word brain, the part of the brain that does all the words, will be there like, oh yeah, this was the word you wanted here. And like, yeah, thanks brain, that was 5-10 minutes ago. Are you serious? Yeah. So, that's basically the common signs, traits that a lot of professionals look for when diagnosing for autism. So what to do now? There's not really much you can really do. If you have an autistic child with delayed speech and other things like that, all the more serious stuff, you want to get them into speech therapy as soon as possible. You want to get them that help and support as soon as you can after the diagnosis. And you have to have a diagnosis to get speech therapy, otherwise they won't give you any because they don't think it needs it. But if it's just you and you're an autistic adult, just look back on certain things. Try and think where you could have gone better. Try and think where it could be different. Try and spot yourself in each moment as it comes. And just be like, oh, hang on a minute. That's a social rule. that I need. You want to be surrounding yourself with people you trust, because then you can turn around and say, am I right in thinking that? Am I right in thinking that was supposed to be mad? You're mad. Okay, cool. They'll help you understand it better. They'll help you see things better, and they will help you improve where you need to improve. You don't want to go changing what you don't want to change, what shouldn't be changed, but you want to sort out where you need to be so that you can have friends without them running a mile because you've been nasty and you didn't mean to be nasty and they don't understand. You're not being nasty on purpose, you're just autistic. So just surround yourself with nice, good people that you can trust, that will help you change and sort out what needs to be sorted out, because if you change what doesn't need to be changed or shouldn't be changed, you'll change things about you, and that's not right. Don't change yourself as much as you can for anybody, because there's no point in that. But change the right things to get better responses. But I hope that helped everybody, and that's it for me today, guys. I'll see you on Friday. See ya.
Put a little bit of shit, put a little bit of shit, put a little bit of shit, get a little bit of gasoline. Welcome to another crime.